This is an area of the market that I've been avoiding getting into for a long time, but it seems that the popularity of dash cams continues to increase, and I figured it'd be cool to do a DIY project showing how you can use an SJ4000 or SJ5000 to make your own DIY dash cam, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that have one of these cameras kicking around. Now, the SJ5000 and SJ4000 are unique to GoPro cameras because they have a dash cam mode. This means that the camera will automatically boot up and start recording when the USB port is powered up. And then when the USB port loses power, the camera will automatically stop recording and power down. This feature makes these cameras awesome for dash cams, but this feature is lacking on GoPro cameras, which means that using a GoPro as a dash cam is it's not really an option. Now, there's a bunch of other features besides dash cam mode that you're going to want to enable and change on your SJ5000 to make sure you get the best experience. So before we go and install this in the car, let's go through the menu and get the camera all set up. You're going to want to set your resolution to 4K, and then you're going to want to set loop recording to 3 minutes. This will mean that when the camera fills up its SD card, it just goes back and starts re-recording over top of its oldest files. Then you can turn wide dynamic range on to allow you to capture a little bit more of what's going on. Gyro sensor should also be turned on. This is basically the SJ5000's image stabilization. Then you can turn on date stamping. This means that the time and date will be burned into the video footage, a nice feature for a dash cam. Quality you can set to fine. Sharpness is going to be set to normal, white balance to auto, and color to normal. Then you can set the ISO to auto. And then we get into the important features like setting dash cam to on. This means that when the USB port gets power, the camera will turn on, and as soon as that USB port loses power, the camera will stop recording and turn off. Then you can set the time and date to whatever the current time and date is. Light set to off. So this is a light set is the number of LEDs that flash on the camera when it's recording. Turn this off because the less lights you have on in your car, the better. And finally, screensaver can be turned to 30 seconds or the minimum setting on your camera. This means that the screen will only stay on for 30 seconds after it starts recording. With all of that out of the way, it's time to get to installing this thing. The main thing for me with mounting this dash cam is to make sure that it's out of the way and hidden, and I don't have to look at it when I'm driving. I also despise the fact that some people run their dash cams with their power cables running straight down to the dash below them, so don't do that, please. It looks awful, and it's super noticeable and just looks terrible. So my dash cam is getting mounted directly behind my rearview mirror. This is because when I'm sitting in the driver's seat and I'm looking at the mirror, anything that's behind it I don't have to see. So if I put the dash cam behind the mirror, then I don't have to see the dash cam. So I'm just going to mount it directly onto the back of the mirror. Also, the mirror is black and the dash cam is black, which means that when the car is parked, it doesn't look like something else is attached to the mirror. It simply gives the illusion of the mirror having a couple more fancy things attached to it, but it doesn't look like something worth breaking into the car to steal. And then I'm going to run the wires from the dash cam up the mirror pedestal into the headliner, and then I'm going to pull the edge of the headliner down a little bit and push the wires into the headliner, hiding them above the window inside the headliner. They're going to run from here over to the side pillar, and then again you can kind of pry apart between the door seal and the headliner there. If you start pulling apart that a little bit using a rubber scraper or some kind of pry tool, you can generally get a little gap and push all of your wires you need to hide into that. You run them down along the side pillar until they reach the bottom of the pedal well there, and then generally underneath the steering wheel there's a little places, a fuse panel or something, and then behind that generally there's a little place you can hide some wires and run them right up to the center of the car where they can get plugged in to just a standard USB to 12 volt power port adapter. And this means that whenever that's plugged in, the camera will be on and recording, and whenever it's off, the camera will automatically turn off and stop recording. This is awesome because most cars have keyed power ports, meaning that when the car is parked and turned off, the power port just turns off. So that's it. It's an SJ4000 or an SJ5000. You've probably got one around your house, and they're super easy to use for stuff like this because, well, maybe you're not using it for shooting action camera videos as much anymore, and maybe you've been looking at getting a dash cam, but they're expensive and you don't really know what the point of them is. But if you've got one around the house, you might as well use it for this because they do work. They do a pretty great job. And once you've got it installed, you basically forget about it. With looping video and with all the other features set up, you never have to really deal with it or look at it or change any settings. You just mount it, make sure all the settings are set up properly, and just forget it. I would recommend going back probably after the first week or two and just making sure that it's starting to loop the video recordings properly and just check on that. But once you've done that once, I think you're probably pretty good to just leave it and forget it. And then if you ever do need to pull footage off it, say you see something absolutely crazy on the road or some cool deer runs across in front of you one night, you can go back and pull that video footage and have a look at it. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, get subscribed. Leave a comment down below if there's any other DIY action camera projects you'd like to see me do. But most of all, until next time, thank you very, very much for watching.